Akash, the real reflection of you. So, there's a video request for me to talk about some of the stuff. I don't know, a couple of you guys found me from Channel 5, right? So there was like a little bit of a request to get some updates as to what have I learned from some of the stuff that I studied with Vince. And so I could do that, and there's definitely, I think that makes sense. I also want to talk today specifically about, and these two will coincide, right? So that's why I'm talking about this right now, is this whole idea. So I spent today going to New York. I was supposed to get a tattoo today. And so I was in the city in and of itself. And long story short, tattoo didn't happen. An emergency came up on the tattoo artist's side. So whatever. So anyways, I don't know, it was about 3 hours going in and out of the city, right? So I had plenty of time in New York itself, which is a great spot to meet people in general. And while I was there on my way over, I was like, all right, there goes the lights. Let me practice some of these different protocols that Vince has taught us, you know what I mean? And I was just in San Francisco this past weekend, once again, at one of his boot camps. So that's what I did on my trip into the city in and of itself. And while I was making my way back, that's what I was focusing on. Now, whatever, you guys are like, okay, where did it go? Whatever, right? And I think there's also a question on how do I measure success, right? So to succinctly answer all of this, first off, I measure success based on how willing am I to be able to take steps, right? In other words, how willing am I to take any step, right? In and of itself, taking a step to go out to New York, yeah, it was supposed to be something else, but that's a step, right? So just making things, continuing to do things in life. So that's one way I measure success, which you might be like, why is that a measurement of success? Why is that a measurement of success for you? Well, that's my measurement of success. Other aspects of that, to me, are willingness to put myself in positions that are more conducive to speak to people, right? So what do I mean? In that regard, am I putting myself closer to a group of women that I would want to talk to, physically, right? So it's not like I'm not shouting, right? It's like we're in the same proximity. That's a simple measure of success. Another one there would be, how willing am I to, a step up from that, how willing am I to just toss a little comment, something, I don't know, on the person's outfit, something on the way that they're moving through a crowd, something on just their general behavior, their demeanor, whatever. It's just a willingness to toss a comment, right? Not any expectation. Is this person going to say something back to me? Are they going to be really nice to me? Are they going to be whatever? Just F off, you know what I mean? No measurement on that, but the willingness on my side to toss that, right? Okay. Next step up from there is a willingness to continue the conversation, right? To take it past whatever the initial comment was to something else. And then there. Step up from that, the willingness to say we should be in touch, or why don't you come join me for a little walk, or something a little bit more physical and intimate. In these times, I don't know so much just with the whole COVID stuff, but there. So those are different levels of success, right? And I talk about all of this because there's something, A, that I saw from one of you guys, and I was like, oh, let me talk a little bit about this. But B, because today, in and of itself, while I was walking through, the Oculus, right? Making my way back from the path going to Newark Penn, just a couple, just small little interactions, and it just reminded me to place every moment, in every single moment, it's easy to place our attention somewhere, right? So, I don't know, I noticed this person, and I was like, oh, this person seems kind of interesting. Let me talk to them. And so that was maybe 30 seconds prior to that, right? It was just out of the corner of my, oh, that seems like an interesting person, right? And then life continues, right? And it's like, well, I got to get to my train station. So what am I putting my attention on in that meantime, right? Am I focusing on that person still? That might be wherever they are. Am I focusing on the landscape around me? Am I focusing on my breathing? What am I focusing on, right? It just reminded me that in every single moment we have the ability to put our attention somewhere, right? And so just a reminder to put my own attention in the present moment that I'm in. It's so easy for me to fast forward as to, ooh, what's that going to be like in the future? Or, oh, what was I thinking back there in the past, right? It's very easy to get distracted by those things, especially when I'm in the present moment. But that's what like ruins, I wouldn't even say ruins things, but it just adds like a different dimension to it. In other words, like it takes away from what's going on right now. Right? And the more that I can practice in being in right now, the more that it's just becomes habitual. It's like second nature. And it's just so funny to even be talking about this, because as I was talking about this whole story, most of it was like looking back in the past, right? It's like, dude, where have you been? You're supposed to be here right now. And well, I've come back to right now, you know? But I talk about all this because it's so fundamental, hey, for me, right? It's like, I don't realize these things until sometimes I look back into them and I'm like, oh, what really happened there? And what progress did I really make, or what progress didn't I make, right? Like, where are things? And it's important to assess, right? I'm not saying like, don't ever assess anything. Only be in the present moment. No, I think there's a value. I truly do think there's a value to seeing what happened in the past and what can we change for the future. For sure. But that's what I have to say on that one. Lastly, if I was to say something for a little message for me in the future, man, I'd say take the signals of whatever's happening in life, like the synchronicities that are ongoing. Trust them. Don't hold on so much to what you think it's supposed to be like. In other words, like, this is all for me. It's like, don't hold on to what you think life is supposed to be like. Rather, see what life is actually like and accept it for that. And let go of any expectation you may have had of the future, or I wouldn't say expectation, but like almost regret of the past, if you will. Yeah, that would be it. So today was a really, really great example of that for me. And Akash into the future will know exactly what I'm talking about with this message. Keep up, thrive, and stay sexy.